Morning or good evening all. Welcome to Selenium with Java June 21 morning batch online training session 9. So today also I will try to cover the remaining portion from TestNG. Yesterday I started TestNG and you already got to know what is TestNG all about, what are the different annotations available TestNG, how you can prioritize test cases, right, how you can iterate it multiple times with the help of invocation counts, and how you can convert a normal Java project to the TestNG project. So today we will discuss how to handle grouping in TestNG, how to handle parameterizations, right? How we can execute only failed test case without listener and with listener. What is data provider all about? What are the different listener class all about? And how we can perform parallel test execution in Selenium WebDriver with the help of TestNG, means with multiple browser, multiple test case at the same time. So first we will cover what is group all about in TestNG, how we can use the group. So group means nothing. Suppose I am giving a simple example. You are having 100 test cases, right? And 100 test cases, right? Of some of the test cases can be smoke testing, some of the test cases can be system, some of the test cases can be integration, some of the test cases can be regression. Even few test cases can combine as mock testing, as your functional testing, as your regression testing. And definitely few test cases, you can interact with 10 different applications for the 100 test case, and for each and every test case you can also mention the kind of application name, like application 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, like that. Okay, so as and when required, suppose say you need to only run your sanity test or mock test or regression test, so you can easily identify the test cases with the filter condition. Similarly, if any kind of fix is happening for your project and it's only impacting your application 2 instead of application 10, right, 1 to 10, so you can also filter out the test cases only with the help of application 2. So that's why in the real time also grouping or kind of filtering can also work, and also that will be very helpful to identify the actual test cases pertaining to that area. So that is the reason it is one time activity, only we need to mention one time, but for the long term, we can get the output or get the result, right, with less effort and in accurate way. So groups in TestNG denotes the process of grouping different test cases or test method together into a straightforward groups and running this test or method together by just running the group in a single command through this test or method are belonging to different classes. Right, it can be from different classes as well, from different packages as well, doesn't matter. Grouping test is another very good features of testing, using which user can create group of test method. User can create a group of test method based on the functionality and features, or based on the modules, or based on testing type like functional testing, regression testing, smoke testing, etc. Right? This way we can differentiate specific groups test method from all the test method. Right? Where we will be specifying the groups, so groups will be specifying in the testng.xml file. You already seen the last session, right, how to convert a normal Java project to the TestNG project, and as well as we are converting it, right, TestNG file we can create it, where we will be providing the different syntaxes, and we can in the classes tag we can provide different classes, and classes can be different packages. So package.class name is the syntax in the class tag, and under the classes tag multiple classes will be there. So groups are specified in testng.xml file and can be used, right, either under the or tag. Group specified in the tags apply to all tag underneath. So that's why we will be defining. So whenever we are writing in test cases at the rate of test annotation, we will be defining group like that, right, with a double bracket, and in case of multiple group we will be giving comma. And in the testng files we need to add this syntax: groups, run, include name, group, or other way, right. If user want to run multiple groups in the same time, right, they need to add another tag, include tag. We can under the run tag we can include multiple tag, right, to include specific group or to exclude a specific group as well. User can mention the group name which they do not want to run using the exclude tag. In case user want to run all groups with something matching keyword, right, same can be possible with the help of regular expression. Suppose my application name is application 1, application 2, application 3, application 4, application 5, like 10, like that. But I will be not mentioning application 1, 2 like that. Instead of that I will mentioning application dot start, so that all application will be running, right. So that's why I can, even I want to include all the relevant things, so I will be specifying that word and I will be pressing dot and start sign, so that other relevant matching part will be executed at the same time, right. So let's see how we can actually use the group. So suppose today I have created a class, right? TestNG class session 9 TestNG, and here I have created multiple test cases. You can already see this is the first test case, test method 1, test method 2, test method 3, test method 4, test method 5, right? Total 5 method has been created and 5 test cases has been created with the help of @test annotation. And for each and every test cases, that's the way I can define group, right? In the test @test annotation, it will be group equal to, right, double bracket, and within the group name it can be comma, right, comma separated within the double bracket. So that's why, suppose for the test method test cases 1, test method 1, I have giving group name is system test case. That test case belong to system test case, and that test case belong to application 1 specific. Second test case will be application 2 and sanity test case. Third test case will be system test case, integration test case, as well as application 3. Fourth test case can be UAT test case, sanity test and sanity test. And fifth test cases will be my application 3 UAT test as well as application 2, right? So that's why I can do it. In the real time also you can specify for sanity test, MOOC test, system testing, system integration testing, regression testing, right, and UAT testing. So that's why you can segregate. And similarly for different application you can do it, right? Suppose in case you are working for the retail project, right, there will be different application called merchandising, inventory control, right, other application can be there, so you can segregate it by application name. So as and how required with the application name or with the system testing, right, that part we can easily run the group. So yesterday we already created the TestNG XML file. So if you want to run your test cases from the TestNG class, there will be options called TestNG test, right, so that we can run a specific test cases. But if we want to run with the help of TestNG XML file, here there will be options to adding multiple classes. Okay, so here whatever class we have created a class session 9 TestNG. So we will be entering that name, and where it is there, it is in the training packages. So package name dot class name we need to give it to run any classes, right? So training classes is there, and here I will be entering that one. So that's why I can run it. Okay, so if you want to run it, you can easily run it here. So right now I did not add it. You can see the option is coming as TestNG should instead of TestNG set, because from the TestNG.xml file we can add multiple classes, we can add multiple tags as and when required, and we can run them, right? So you can see all the 5 methods is working here, right? Test method 1, 2, 3, 4 is output is coming. So you can see test method 1, 2, 3, 4 with the time tune it, and all the 5 is run and everything is no failure here. So this is the 5 method running. Now I want to run with the groove. Then how can we run it? We need to add the groove, right? Syntax. So say this is the my group syntax. I will be adding it, right? So that is the group syntax. I can add it. Where I will be adding it? I will be adding it, right, after the test name before the classes tag. So I will be copy pasting it, right, and I will be adding it after the test name and before the class name. Here if you want to update it, right, you can update it, right? So TestNG should grooves, I can update that should name as well as my test name as and when required. Okay, so this is your group name tag. Groups tag, it will be ending with group tag, and within the group there will be run tag, and it will ending with run tag. Here we can include name, exclude name, like that. Suppose say I want to run only say system test, right? So I will be adding the group name as system test. So how many system tests is there? So this is one system test. For test method 2 there is no system test. Test method 3 also system test is there, right? So the 2 test cases will be executed here, right, which is matching with system test. So test method 1 and test method 3. So let's try to run it and let's see whether it's running based on my group name, right? So I want to include that name. So only 2 test cases will be running. One is test method 1 and one test method 3 out of 5. So that's why I can, out of 100 to 1000 test cases based on the group, I can run it. You can see two method has been running, right? And you can get also result, 2 run, 2 failure. And if you want to include multiple things apart from system test, right, I want to also run the integration test, or maybe I want to run the UAT test. So UAT test, or you can see so test method 4 and test method 5 is also covering the UAT test, right? So I can include one more name called UAT test. So here 4 test case will be running, right? So that's why based on your requirement, right, you can run more or less test cases specific to the condition matching criteria. So here 4 test cases will be running 1, 3, 4 and 5. Test method 1, 2, 3 and 5, you can see it is running based on the requirement, right. Suppose say I, instead of that, I don't want to run on a particular condition. So instead of include, I can make exclude, right. So that though I am running system test, suppose say, and I am running UT test, but I don't want to run any test cases specific to my application 3, right. So suppose say application 3 I don't want to run it, but I want to run system test and my UT test. So here, so 1, 3 and 4 and 5 is running, but then it will check how many test cases there with the application 3. So here 3 and 5 is their application with 3. So those test cases will not be run if we use exclude tag. So include and exclude tag, it can be also, right, same time you can add it. So suppose it will be exclude instead of include, right. So here you can give the application name which you do not want to run it. So though it will try to include first UAT and system test case, but it will also at the later point it will exclude the application 3. So out of 4, so application 3 is there in 2 test cases, so those 2 test cases will not be run. So out of 5, first 4 will be filtering, and again based on the exclude condition 2 test cases will be excluded. So only 2 test cases will be run. Test case method 1 and 4, right. You can see that's why it is running method 1 and 4, 2 test cases, right. And say now instead of, right, giving, I want to run all the application test cases. So 1, 2, 3 is different way, right. So I can include, right, with app, starting with app, then star dot star, so that all the test cases where app word is there, so it will be running, right. So that's why I also run it. So let's comment it out, these 2 parts, and I want to run with, suppose say I will be giving it app dot star, right. So if you do not want to give everything, so whatever test cases starting with app dot star, it will be running. So application 1 will be run, 2 will be run, 3 will be run, only that test case will be not be run because there is no app what is there, and also that test case will be run. So here 4 test case will be run, 1, 2, 3 and 5 out of 5 with the help of app dot star. Let's try to run it and let's see. So that's why I can group multiple test cases with their specific keyword, and as and when required we can run them, right. We can include them, we can exclude them. We can see 1, 2, 3 and 5 is getting executed and the test method and all are passed, right. You can get all the desired outcome, okay. So that's why we can run our group. So you can also comment out testing XML file. If you want to comment out, you can see it's commented out, okay. You can comment out at the same time. So that is all about the group. The next topic from today's session is parameterization. Why parameterization is required, right? So suppose say you want to log in to a particular application. Instead you want to just want to switch your user ID only, not the password but other part. So suppose for a specific condition you want to provide different way, right? So there is 2 options while available in TestNG. One is the parameterization and one is the data provider, right? With the help of data provider, right, you will be running everything and only passing everything. Data provider you can also with the help of Excel, CSV file, right, you can also try to get the data from the data provider. But here, right, in the parameterization, all the parameter data will be providing with the help of testng.xml file. So that is the basic difference. And data provider, you can interact with the external source such as external CSV, Excels, right, database as well. But in the test parameterization, like you can kind of differentiate with the data, but data will be from your kind of testng XML file. It will be provided, right, through testng XML file. So what is parameterization? So one of the important feature of testng is parameterization. This feature allows user to pass parameter to test as argument. This is supported by using testng @parameters annotation. In the testng you already seen lot of annotation @ test, before test, after test, right? So this also parameter is also annotation in TestNG available, right? The parameter can be annotation can be used for any of the like before, after test annotated method. It can be used to initialize variable and use them in a class, test, or it may be the whole test execution. In case user need to pass some simple value such as string type to the test method at runtime, user can use the approach sending parameter value through XML configuration file. So parameterization value, everything will be declared in your test cases, but the value you will be declaring through your TestNG XML file. You can't declare with any other thing. User have to use @parameter annotation for passing parameter value to the test method. So you are writing a test cases, that is your test cases, and you will be using @test annotation, and after @test annotation you will be using parameter, and here you will be using multiple parameter, and this is the parameter name, and value will be entering with the help of TestNG XML file. So in the TestNG XML file we will be adding this thing, right? Parameter name equal to this and value equal to this, name equal to this, value equal to this, in case it is multiple parameter, right? User can declare the variables at the should level as well as test level. So whenever I was declaring anything, right, in the parameter form, in the test engine file we can declare the should level, so it will be after should, it will be in the test level also. In case both the levels same parameter is found, it will discard the should level setting and it will consider the test level setting only. In case nothing is displayed, so it will, in case only one time it is displayed, so it can take anything, either should level or test level. So I will show you how the parameters plays an pivotal role also in the TestNG. Let's comment it out, this test case. Let's try to create test cases here. So suppose I'll be creating a test case. Suppose definitely with some variable I can perform some operation, right? Suppose I can perform operation called integer, right? I can perform operations with the float, right? I can perform operation with different string as well, right? So let's try to you create a test case first. Okay, so @test annotation I can remove the group part. So say public void. So method name I am giving as, suppose say kind of add, right? So I want to add, and here I will be providing, right, say 2 parameter, right, say integer a comma integer b. Okay, so that's 2 parameter I want to pass, and I want to system print out, so I want to sum them, right? So it will be a plus b, right? So that is that one test case I want to write it, right? Okay, so I want to create a test case while providing integer a, so I want to sum them because it is add. Similarly, I can write multiple test case, right? Say suppose say instead of add it can be subtraction, right? So similar way I can minus it. So I can create one test cases called also 2 more test cases for multiplication and division, right? So I will be using multiplication, so it will be star here, right, and division div. So this is the 4th method I will be running, so it will be division, right? So this is the 4th method I already run, right? So here we are just defining the variable, so not kind of giving any value. So if you want to run it, so it will throw some kind of problem, right? It will not give you anything because you are just defining the value with the data type, right? So defining the kind of data type with the variable, but you are not giving any value. So in case you are running it, you can see, let's see the output. Okay, you can see there is an error because 4 are failed. Why is the fail? Because you did not define any value, right? You can see that is the error is coming. org TestNG exceptions, annotated method, integer like that, cannot inject. Okay, so for this part, for the integer 1 and 2 I can parameterize. How can I do the parameterize? You can see here example here. So we write either @test or before @test, we can use parameters and we can pass 2 parameters. because here also you are doing passing two parameters. It can be string, it can be double, it can be integer, like that. Okay, so I will be passing two parameters here. So either after at the rate test or after before at the rate test, it does not matter. So you will be using parameters. Okay, so that is the syntax you need to use. You need to give first bracket, and within the double bracket you need to define the parameters type. So suppose say I will be giving is the parameter value name is within the double bracket, double quote, say test data 1, right? That is the one variable I am declaring, and also I am declaring another variable, sorry, called test data 2. So this is the two variable matching with that one. So here no need to define any data type, you just need to give the variable name. Okay, and now you also need to close with double bracket and then first bracket. So that is the way of declaring, and you need to import the parameters because this is the annotations available in testng only. So I will be importing parameters from org.testng.annotation. Please remember that one. So you can see that's why you can declare the parameter. So here test data 1 and test data 2. So it will test data 1 will match with the integer 1 and test data 2 will match with the integer b. In case you are trying to add multiple parameters here also, so you need to add multiple parameters as well. Suppose you want to add with 3 different variables, right? So you can also pass 3 different way, right? Suppose say I will be, for adding part, I want to give 3 parameters, right? Integer. Okay, let's try to create one more one for the adding, for the add. Okay, add 3 parameter, 3 variable, add 3. Okay, that is the method name. Here I can pass one more value, will be integer c, so I can pass it, right, plus c. Okay, so for that one you can provide, so okay, you need to also use that at the test annotation, right, for this test case. So for that one here I will be providing 3 parameters, one will be test data 2 and one will be test data 3. So that's why you can deal with, right, test data 3. Okay, or suppose say in case you want to give the test data 2 as well, so you can also give it test data 2. So test data 2 will be your integer b and integer c. So you have no need to add it. Suppose say in case everything will be test data 1, you can also do it. Okay, so it will be test data 1 will be matching with a, test data 2 will be matching with b, and test data 2 also will be matching with c. So you need to define 3 different variable only. So now for the other one only 2 variable. So sometime I can give before at the rate test or after at the test, it does not matter. So it will be same meaning. Okay, so that's why I can define the parameters here, right, in the test case level. So here I have 5 test case. 2 is for sum, addition, 1 addition is 2 data type, 1 addition is 3 data type, integer a, b, c, and divisions, multiplication and subtraction. This is my 5 test case I have written. Now if you go to the testng.xml level, so you can give the parameters, right, in the should level or in the test level. So here I can change my name, it will be should parameters, right. So I can give it, I can change the name, yeah, so that my change will be also impacted. And then you need to define it, right. So how you will be defining it? Parameter name equal to parameter name and value, right. So I can copy paste the same thing here, and I will be adding either in the should level or in the test level. So let's first try to add in the test level, in the testng XML file. So I will be adding in the test level, right. What is my parameter name? I need to add, right. So I will be adding the parameter name. One is the parameter name is test data 1. Okay, so I can give it, and test data 2. This is my 2 parameter name, right. And for the first one I can give the value, suppose say 20, and that second one I can give the value as say 5. Okay, I can give the value that way, right. So in case it's string or integer, does not matter, you have to give everything in the double quote, right, name and the value. So I have given it, right, 2 value. So though my second test case which is the add 3 with 3 variables. I want to add 3 variables, but it will be only one variable and second variable 2 times. That means, right, test data 1 plus test data 2 plus test data 3 it will behave, right. Now let's try to run it with the help of TestNG XML file, and let's see how it is behaving, how the output is coming. So it will try to execute 5 test cases here. You can see add 2, right. You can see the data is also passing here 20 plus 20 and 5, because the test data value was 20 and test data 2 value was 5, right. You can see here add 20 plus 5. So what will the output? 20 plus 5 is 25. And second test case is the add 3 method. So you can see 20 and 5 and 5, because we are providing here integer a, b, c as test data 1 and b and c is test data 2. So test data 2 is coming here, right. Division 20 and 5. So what is the output? Division is 4, because your execution will be alphabetical order, right. So add, div, and then multiplication. Multiplication is 20 is 5 equal to 100, right. Then subtraction is coming. Then what is the subtraction value? 20 minus 5 equal to 15. So that's way you can do it, right. Okay, now let's cut paste the same thing, and now let paste it at your should level. So it will does not have any impactance, it will give you the same result. Okay, so in case it should level or test level does not matter. Let's try to run it, it will give you the same result. Okay, you can see total number of test cases passed, same result. 25, 5, multiplication, division, like that. So you can give the same result. Now say same parameter name I am giving at my test level as well as my should level, right. And now test level I am changing the value of 5 to 10. So what happened now? Happen means your should level will be discarded and your test level will be in place. So in case the same parameters, value does not matter, same parameter is present, right, at your should level and at your test level. So test level will be taken into the consideration, your should level will be discarded, right. So that is the difference. So now if you running it, that part that will not be executed. Instead of that part, based on that part value will be executed. Now let's try to run it and let's see what is the output here. So it will be 20 and 10. Those two parameters it will take, and our result will come based on that. You can see here 20 and 10, 20, 10, 10, 20, 10, division, multiplication and subtraction. So output will be also coming. 20 plus 10 equal to 30, 20 plus 10 plus 10 equal to 40, 20 divided by 2 equal to 2, 20 divided by 20 multiplied by 10 equal to 200, 20 minus 10 equal to 10. That's why I can do the parameterization, right. So here instead of test 2, right, if you want to change to parameter 3 here, right, so you can also do it, test 3. Now if you want to give the value for test data 3 here, one new value, so you can also give it, right. So that's why you can change it. In case it's multiple parameter, you want to add it, right. So it will be test data 3. Suppose say I want to add here 100, right. So you can also do it, right. Let's remove that one, should level part. So it will be taking, and here test data 3 will be placed. So I have changed the value of test data 3 instead of test data 2. I want to pass 3 different variables here, right. So here test data 1 and test data 2 and test data 3. So now for the add 3 method, right, what 3 method will be there. So it will be based on the different parameter I am passing in the TestNG XML file. So it will be based on that. So now you can see here the result. Especially for the result will be get changed only for the add 3 one, right. You can see add 20 and 10, because 20 was the first parameter, 10 is the second parameter value, and third parameter value is 100. So it is also getting updated here, right. Otherwise rest of the methods output will not change, right. So you can see 20 plus 10 equal to 30, and here 20 plus 10 plus 100 equal to 130, 20 divided by 2 equal to 2, 20 is multiplied by 10 equal to 200, 20 minus 10 equal to 10. So that's why you can do with the parameterization, right. Different parameter part you can add it, but parameter value you need to add it from your TestNG XML file, right. So that's why you can use the parameterization. Okay, let's here how to execute only failed test case in TestNG without listener class, right? So let's give the parameterization here. Let's keep it. Okay, so here say suppose we are having 5 different test cases and we want to run with the help of parameterization, right? Okay, but say I will be failing all test case, right? So suppose say I want to fail that test case. How can I fail it? So I will be using some assert dot assert equal so suppose say I want to check 13 and 10, right? So definitely it will fail. It is not matching this true value. So one test case I want to fail it, right? So other test case will be passed because I did not add any assertion. So everything will be passed here. Then my objective is that I want to only suppose first time I am running all the test cases, right? So out of which some test cases can fail, because in the real time you are having 1000 test cases, and if you need to run all the test cases, some of the test cases can fail because of some kind of synchronization issue. Some test cases can fail because of some web element not found. Some test cases can fail because of some application in behavior change, right? But definitely every time I will be not running all the test cases. Instead of that, I want to debug only the failed test case, and I want to run those test cases after fixing my code. So how can I run it? Only the failed test case. That is my questions, right? I will not be running the past test case. I will be only running the failed test case. So there is two approach. One will be you can use listener class. So I will be showing it in the later session. Another way is, right, that there will be file called test output file, and there will be folder kind of XML file will be there, which is nothing but the test ng.-fail.xml file. If you open it and if you want to run it from that one, you will be running only the failed test case one. So most of the time test case may fail while executing automated test script. The reasons may be anything like network issue, element not found, timeout exception, system issue, or browser specific issue. But user don't need to execute the test script again. So instead of running all the test script again and again, user can focus only the failed test case and execute only those failed test case again for any number of time and check the updated result. So that, right, definitely lot of times can be saved, right? So in past test case is already passed, I don't need to worry for that particular run. So maybe next run even again I need to run all the test case. Otherwise, if you want to run all the test case again and again, it will take a lot of time, and every time some test case will fail, and you will not able to fix them, and you will not able to get the desired result within the stipulated time frame. So that is the reason in the real time, in any kind of framework, it does not matter whether you are using Selenium only, even other framework also, sometime in case test case is passed, we will be not be kind of considering those test cases. The failed test case will be analyzing why the test case has been failed, and will be running only those failed test case. So how we can run it? After run is completed, you need to right click on the project, you need to refresh it. So there will be test output folder. In that folder there will be file test ng-fail.xml. If you run it, only failed test case will be executed. So let's try to run it here. So here only one test case will be failed, right? Okay, and the rest of the test case will be passed here. So if you run it, you can see here the test method, add method test case will be failing, because here we have added an assertion which is not matching. Okay, you can see training sessions. Okay, because we have used hard assertion, that is the reason other test case is also failing. So we can use soft assertion, okay, instead of hard assertion. So I will be creating a method here, object assert SA equal to new soft assert. Okay, because in case we are hard asserting, so remaining method is also not getting executed. So that can be a problem. So definitely you should use soft assert, right? So with the help of soft assert, I can use it. Then your SA dot assert all. So that is the way you already learned in the last session, right? So I need to import the soft assert, right? It's already done. So now if you are running it, your only test case will be failed where assertion is getting failed. Okay, so let's try to run it. So not from here, I can try to run it from here, test engine.xml file. Okay, so it will be running and it will be taking your data sheet value. Okay, you can see only one test case got failed, remaining was passed, right? Remaining was passed because other test case I do not add any assertion, right? So first test case got failed and remaining was passed. And for the first test case, what is the error, right? You can see that is the expected was 10 and actual was found 13, right? And if you check here also failure 1, right? So now I want to run only the failed test case. So if you want to run it from here again, so all the test case will be running again and you will get the same way, right? But I want to only identify, right, the failed test case and I want to run it after fixing my code. I don't want to run the past test case. Here only 5 test cases and it's taking less time, that is the reason you will not get any impact. But in case one is 1000, 5000 test case and if you run it every test case, it will be really hurdle and definitely nobody don't want to execute it. So instead of that I want to run in the fast test case. So just select the project, just then right click and refresh it. So your project will be refreshed and immediately you can find the test output folder. So expand the test output folder and you can find it, right, that one testng -fail. Immediately based on every run it will be generated and it will be updated. Now if you open it, you can see here only one test case is there, right? Because method name you will be executing only the add, because that was got failed only. So you will be getting only that particular method name add. You can see here. So only one method is there, right? And from the class that one as the from the value. So now if you want to run it from here, right? So you will be running your, you will not be running from the testng XML file, you will be running from that testng-fail.xml. So only one test case will be running, not all the other remaining test case. So you can see here it will be running only one test case. You can see one test case got run and it got failed, right? Now I can definitely analyze my failed test case only and I can correct it, right? So if I go to my failed test case, if I just want to copy the trace, right, and if I want to paste in the notepad and then if I can analyze it, so you can easily analyze it, right? Right, so that what is the problem? You can see the assertion problem failure, so I can fix it, right? So let's try to fix it. So I'll be giving as 10 also, right? Then I am fixing it, I am saving my code, then I only want to run the failed test case instead of all the test case. So now my test case will be passed, only one test case will be run which was on the fail in the earlier version. So it is also giving you option testng should, but it is running only your failed test case instead of running all the test case again and again and again. You can see, right, it is fine and it is now passed, right? So it is also passed, it is giving you the correct one, failure 1 and total run equal to 1, and you can see that is the running. So that's why, that is the one way you can run your failed test case instead of running all the test case again and again. So any questions from these three topics? One is group, one is the parameterization, and one is the how to execute only failed test case in testng without listener class. Is it clear?
Yeah, but one question, like we are not using different annotations like different class or different method.
No, you can use it, right? You can use it because here there is no point of using it, right? In case you are really using for the application standpoint, definitely you can use it. In the last session I already showed, right? In case there is some login part is there, right? You need to launch the browser, so you'll be using it before class or before method, right? Definitely it's predominantly need to use before method. So in case it is you need to launch the browser, right? So we will be setting everything, all the browser properties, and till maximizing part we will be setting in the at the rate of before method, and a tear down method or after method will be calling is to closing the browser, and the remaining one will be calling as a separate test case. But here we are just validating it, so there is no point. What is the precondition here? So precondition we are adding it at the before method, before test, before class, right? With that one, this is the precondition part. We are adding it.
Okay, so like you said, there could be 100,000 test cases.
Uh-huh.
So are we going to add the parameters like this? Like there will be multiple.
Yeah, right. Multiple parameters. So you'll be adding multiple parameter here, right? One by one.
Like 1,000 or 2,000 variables like this.
No, definitely your 1000 test cases will not be having the same parameter, right? So your 1000 test case can have common parameter, right? So it can be maximum 50. So you need to add 50 row here, right? In your real-time project, definitely you will be not varying everything, right? Only you are varying something. So that is the one is called parameterization. There is some problem still there with the parameter. That is the reason we will be using data provider. So here we can use more accurately. We can call the data from the external sources. So external sources we can easily manipulate it. So right now today not I will see how to read the data from the external sources, because for that we need to use some framework and we need to use some Apache PY. But with the help of TestNG we can read and write the data from the external source. It can be Excel sheet, it can be CSV file, or it can be your database.
Okay. That will help.
So in the upcoming session, framework session, whenever I will be covering keyword driven and data driven framework and hybrid framework, I will read and write the data from the Excel sheet only. Okay, then it is data provider, right? So in the parameterization you already seen, right? You are providing everything with the help of testengine.xml file, but I don't want to use testengine.xml file. Instead of that I want to use create one more method, right, from where we can get the data, and that method, for that method I can use more functions with the help of Apache PY, but that will not cover in today's session. But I will show how we can use data provider annotation, through which with the help of Apache PY we can interact with the Excel file or CSV file like that. Okay, so in most of the situation user need to run scenario with different sets of data. During that time it is not possible to write a test cases for each set of data, right? Instead of that you will be using data provider, which provided data in the form of an array of objects. It can be single dimensional, it can be multi-dimensional, right? Suppose say you only want to pass one dimension, right? One only. Suppose say you want to pass a particular value, a particular value, so it will be single dimensional. In case you want to pass multiple values, suppose say user ID, password, right? So it will be two dimensional, and number of time you want to iterate, right? So it will be also come as a part of your row and column value, right? So here you can see this is your I have tried to create a data provider here, and this is your method name and return type will be object, right? And here I will be declaring the right object with multi-dimensional. In case it is a multi-dimensional, first will be row and second will be column. Row is nothing but the number of kind of element you want to interact, and column is the number of iteration you want to perform it. So any point of time you can change the size of the data as well, right? You can add it. So it is very flexible to use the data provider. To run the @test multiple times with different input, user can use data provider options present in TestNG. A data provider annotate method always return an array of objects. Please be remember it can be any dimensional. Number of row presents in the array will be number of iteration of the @test, right? Whereas number of columns will be your argument. Okay, so number of row will be your iterations, and number of columns will be your number of parameter in the test data. So the first will be creating a class here, right? And with the class we will be using a test method here, right? We will be using test @test annotation, and once we declare the data provider, so that data provider reference will be passing it, so that you can interact it. So I will be showing you how we can deal with that. The main difference between passing data from the data provider method and passing data from the test.xml file, right? So that is the main difference. Okay, so for the parameterization everything we are passing from the test.xml file, but here we will be passing from the test case itself, and that test case can be easily integrated with the external source with the help of other different dependents, Apache PY part, right? So by using data provider we can pass multiple set of data using data provider, and test method will run on each set of data. But using parameter and test.xml file it is not possible to pass multiple set of data, right? For single particular part, if you want to change the value, it is not possible, right? So suppose say here in the parameter you can already see, right? We can provide only one value for the test data one. If you want to change the value in the, suppose say I want to pass 20 and 10 for the test data one, it is not possible through parameterization, right? But it is possible through data provider. Okay, I will be showing you how we can do interact it. Let's comment it out. So yesterday we have written a lot of test cases, right? So I'll be taking the test cases one reference here. So you are saying that before method, after method, like that. So here I am copy pasting the same part. So that part I already did. This is my before method, before test, and this is my after test, right? And then I will want to launch a particular application, right? Suppose say I want to launch a Facebook page. Okay, so you can easily launch it, right? So you can remove it. Okay, now say I want to launch the Facebook page, then I want to get the title of the page. After that, let's try to open the Facebook page first. Okay, here I'll be opening my Facebook page. So in the Facebook page, I want to provide, right, user ID and password, right? So definitely I can hard code it, right? But say I need to run it for multiple condition, multiple number of iteration, right? So then how we will do it? So definitely you need to use some parameter. I want to add some value here and here also, right? Every time. Okay, and if sometime I need to click on the login button here, okay, but here I will be just only passing the ID and password. So I will show you how it can data provider can be used. Let's try to inspect the element first. After opening the Facebook page, I'll be getting the titles and then I'll be providing. So here you can see, right, we can identify with the name or ID equal to email. So I'll be inspecting with the ID hello. So here driver dot find element by dot ID. Okay, and I want to send a key. Suppose say test 1 2 3 4 5 like that. Similarly for the email field also, password field also I want to enter. So here ID is pass. So with the help of ID I can also identify it. So ID is pass. Okay, so that part I want to enter, right? Now let's try to run it. Let's see what is happening here. Okay, so it will launch the Facebook page. It will get the title in your consoles. So you can also exclude it. So you can run it from the test case level as well. Okay, it will enter the email ID and password. It will quit the browser because it will depend on your before test and after test, the pre condition and the post condition. And based on the Facebook test cases method we have written, it will launch the Facebook page, get the title, and it will enter the email and password. So that's why I can write it instead of writing everything in a single test case. I can call the before test and after test. Facebook is opening and your user ID and password will be opened or entered. Okay, you can see this enter and getting close. So that's why you can interact with the, right, you can hard code everything, right? But say I don't want to hard code anything, right? Instead of that I want to pass, right, with the help of data provider, right? So suppose say here instead of hard coding I can define something and I can pass string username, right, and string password. Okay, that part I want to pass it, right? So now it will be passing your username. So you already defined the data type, so you no need to give it, and you can give it the password, right? So then I don't want to remove the title. Instead of that, I can cut paste it, and I want to every time I want to print my user ID and password, right? So I can print my username and password. So I can print my username. I can give some concatenation, right? Plus sign, I can give some space, and then I can concatenate my password, so I can print it out. So that's why definitely I can do it. So I can iterate with multiple number of time. Now my question is how I will be providing the string and password, right? So here I will be using the data provider, and I will be creating an object or instance, right? And where I will be giving the number of rows and number of iteration, right? So here the row will be your, right, number of iteration, and your column will be a number of parameters you want to pass. So I will want to pass in a user ID and password. So definitely my number of column will be 2, and in case I want to run it for 2 times, so my 3 times, so my column will be row will be 3, right? So here I will be using first data provider. That is the syntax. Okay. So you need to import it, data provider. Okay, now nothing is coming, so we need to write all the test cases here. So here we will be creating an object, suppose say object, definitely it will be public in nature. So it is two multi-dimensional object, so I will be using multi-dimensional array. So 2-dimensional, right? And I need to create the method, right? So where I can create, suppose say enter user and password. So that is the syntax. Okay. Okay, it should be outside your class. Okay, here it should be your class level. I can mention it in the class level. I think it should be 1 second. In the class level, okay, if I enter it, it should not create any problem. Okay. Let's try to do it here only. I think it's fine. Okay, let's try to import the data provider first. Okay, data provider, the annotations available in TestNG. I am providing it. Let's remove it, and here I am declaring an object which name is object, and this is a method name I am creating for the data provider, right? Then I will be defining the object, same dimensional, right? And that way I can define an object. I can defining the variable name equal to new object, and here I can give the row and column. So row will be number of iterations. Suppose I want to iterate for 3 times, and column will be a number of argument you want to pass it, right? Now you can see error message is coming. So now I can define the data. Suppose say first I will be defining row 1. Okay, so here I can define the data with the variable name, right? So data, so equal to, I can, so first it will be starting with, everything will be starting with 0, right? So here I have defined row number is 3 and column number is 2. So row number will be 0, 1, 2, and column number will be 0 and 1. So first will be a row. So row 0, column 0, right? So it will be your first variable, right? Your first argument value. So I can suppose say give username, because it will be username, right? Username 1, okay? And then you need to end with semicolon, right? Then similar way, if I want to pass the second argument value, that means password, so I need to column change. I need to only change the column. So here it will be password 11. Okay. Similar way, I can define everything for the other row. So it will be row 2 here. So here I will be passing only the row number. Sorry, row number changing. Okay, so let's try to change it with 1 2 1 2 like that. Now it's row 3, iteration 3 or row 3. So here it will be 2, it will be 2, and I can change it to 1 3 like that. And definite is the object, I need to return the variable, right? So that I can return it. So at the last here I will be returning the data, because it's returning that variable. That is the return type, right? So that's why I can create a data provider. Okay, so I have created data provider with the help of data provider annotations, right? So this is your method name, and I am defining object with variable name data, and your object, or sorry, your method or functions can have some return type. In case does not have anything, it will be null, right? It is the void return type, but I want to return that data, so your return type will be your object, and definitely public is the access modifier, so that it can be accessible anywhere. So that's why I can create a data provider. So same approach I will show you in the next session. With the same approach, how you can, with the help of Apache PY, you can read and write the data from the external Excel sheet instead of providing here. I will show you in the next session. But now today try to learn it. What is how we can read and write the data provider. So that is the part I already covered it, right? Now I need to read the data from with the help of method name, right? So I will be simply adding it at the rate test annotations method here, right? At the rate test annotations, I will be using data provider, and the name of my method. Simple way. Otherwise everything will be same, and here I need to enter the double quote. Otherwise I am not impacting, not touching anything. Data provider. Okay, I need to change it to data provider. P will be caps. Okay, now error message gone. Okay, now try to run it from here. Okay, and let's see whether based on the data provider, whether it is running for 3 times, and every time it is entering the data based on the data provider we have given, right? Let's try to run it. So we are not updating anything in the test.ng XML file. Okay, it is. You can see it is working. First it is trying to open the Facebook page. It will enter the first data set, right? Username 11, username password 11. Then it will close the browser. Again it will try to open it for the second set. It will enter the second set data. It will quit the browser. Again it will wait for the third set, and that's why it will work. So I am trying to set the precondition and post condition. You can see it is working, right? Second set it will be working, okay, and third set it will be working. So similar way you can do it easily. You can see it is working here. You can give the name, password, and enter ID, email ID, whatever you have given. Now what is the beauty I am telling you? Suppose say you can see everything is passed. You can see the data combination also every time, right? It has got changed. Now say, suppose say you were having 3 different parameters. So apart from username and password, real time there will be some added, one field more will added, right? So you can just change the parameter and you can add the value. Suppose instead of 3 run, I want to run it for 5 times. So I will changing the row value to 5, and here I can add for more rows, right? value. So it will be iterated for 5 times. So here it will be row 4, right? It will be 3 here because n minus 1, and here I can change it to 4, and here if you want to change it to row 5, so it will be n minus 1 means row 4, 4 and 4, here it will be 5 and 5. Now it will be iterated based on the value. We are changing the value only in the data provider. We are not touching our method, right? So that part we can handle it from the external source. So here we are writing it hard coding, but Excel it can easily do it, right? So I'll show you in the next sessions what way we can read the data from the external sources, Excel basically. Okay. Now if you want to run it, right, with the from a test XML file, you can see here it will be run for 5 iteration. Okay, and for the 5 iteration it will try to run it. So that's why in case if you want to change the number of iteration or kind of number of variables or argument, you can easily do it. So it will try to run 5 iteration. Okay, you can see the 5 iteration is run. Okay, so that is the beauty of data provider. We can run any number of time, right? So we are not impacting our part here, just we are updating the data provider part. So to change the number of iteration or to change the number of arguments. Okay, is it clear? Because this is very important concept. Because whenever you will be using the framework, that part you need to use it, the data provider concept, and definitely we will be writing few more lines to read the data, to write the data from the external source, but that part will be fixed here. We will not be changing anything. Is it clear? Okay. Okay, then listener class. So I mean listener class is very important, okay, in the real time, because whenever we'll be implementing the framework, I'll cover it there again, no need to worry. Okay, but why it is important? Because sometimes your test case is getting passed or failed, right? So in the framework, definitely for each and every test cases you want to get something, the failed result, pass result, or you want to add some screenshot, right? So you will be adding it in the listener particular method name, so that in case if you want to get the result, get the screenshot only for the failed parts, you will be adding it. If you want to update something for the failed or pass or the test cases, so you can add it. So that's why listener class plays a pivotal role. Right? Sometimes user wish to modify the behavior of TestNG during skip development, and this can be done by interfaces. So listener are interfaces. Okay. So in the last Java session you already seen, whenever where interfaces consist of number of abstract method, right? It does not have any implementation, right? So whenever you will be implementing those interfaces, you need to implement all the unimplemented method, right? And definitely you need to add the method body, right? So that is the listener interface available in Java, sorry, Selenium WebDriver. These interfaces which helps the user to do so are known as listeners. As the name suggests, listener primary task is to listen to an event, define and react according to that. The main purpose for which listeners are used by the programmers is to create logs and create custom report according to specific scenario defined. A TestNG listener always extend org.testng.it iTestNG listener, and TestNG provides the below listener type. So this the listener is available from in the TestNG. Okay, I execution listener, I annotation transformer, I shoot listener, I test listener, I configuration listener, I method interceptor, I hooked method listener, I hookable, I reporter. But primarily I test listener I will be using multiple times. That is the I shoot listener. Those are the two listener used very frequently. Okay, so each listener have specific method that are overridden. Most popular listener are the methods which are overridden by them are mentioned below: I-test listener and I-should listener. I-test listener is one of the most commonly used listener in Selenium WebDriver. The programmer simply need to implement the I-test listener interface and override all the methods of this interface in order to use it. It makes the call before and after every test present in the soup. Right? There are several methods in it which are mentioned below: on start, on finish, on test start, on test failure, on test skipped, on test success, and on test failed, but within the success percentage. So I have tried to give a description of all that. So on start, in case the test particular method is getting start, it will be displayed, the output will be displayed. In case of finish, it will be displayed. On test start, right? So it is particular test method, and on start and on finish, it will be defined based on the class level, and it on test start it will be method level. Failure, in case something is failure, in case something is skipped, in case something is success, right? So that will be displayed. I-test listener only having two important methods: on start and on finish. So primarily that is the reason we will be implementing I-test listener interface. So once you implement the I-test listener interface, so there are two ways to implement in the TestNG framework. One is that we can add it in the TestNG XML file, right? Otherwise we can add the listener annotations in that itself. Okay, so here, so let's try to use my previous code only. So here I can create few more method from here. So I am not writing anything new. So 4 methods. So here I can remove the group part. Okay. So I am not keeping the group part. Okay. Suppose say here I want to fail one test cases, say. Okay, and that method 3 I want to make it dependent to the other method, right? So that it will be skipped. In case of failure, you already seen in my last session. So here suppose say I add the test annotations, I want to make it dependent, right? Press enter, depends on method, and here I need to give the method name here. What is the method name I want to give? That's all. Okay, so here I have written 4 method. Out of 4 method, test method 1 and test method 4 is getting passed. I did not have any assertion. Test method 2 is getting failed because assertion is failure, and test method 3 is dependent on test method 2. So definitely in case it is failing, so it will be skipped, right? Now if you want to run it, right, either from the test level or from the TestNG XML, you can find out of 4 method, 2 method will be passed or 2 test cases will be passed, 1 test case will be failed and 1 test case is skipped, because that skip test case is dependent on the failed test case, right? You can see here, right? 2 test case passed, 1 and 4, 2 test method 2 failed and test method 3 skipped, because right, it was dependent on the test method 2 which is in failed status because assertion failure. But if you want to get the details, right, if you want to get anything kind of important information, so you are not getting it, right? So then you can use the listener interface. So in the framework, whenever I will be covering the framework session, I will show you how with the help of listener you can capture the screenshot. So we will be not adding any method, I will be adding it only in the listener class, listener method. So from the listener method, in case of failure, at that point immediately capture information will be captured, right? Everything will be done with the help of listener interface. So here in the training package, I will be creating a class, normal Java class, okay, called listeners, okay, or say test ng listeners. I will not be selecting the public main method because I will be not be running anything with it. So here you need to implement it, right? That is the method, that is the interface you need to implement it. In the last session you already discussed I-test listener, right? So because it is interface, I need to implement it. That is the name of the interface. And now you need to, you can see as and when immediately I am implementing it, you can see there is a, first I need to implement it, after that there will be error message will be coming still, right? You need to see here, right? Either make it abstract or add unimplemented method, because in the interface all the methods will be there without any body. So as and when you will be calling those method, calling those interface in our classes, we need to unimplement all the method. You can see this coming here now, right? So if you want to, now if you want to add something here, you can add it easily. So suppose say in case of any start I want to add it, right? So I will be adding it. So I can add it here on start. So it is method level. So I can add something called testng method started, right? And here I can concatenate it, okay, because you can see here this is the part I can with the help of variable. This is our itest result variable, so I will be concatenating it dot get name, so that part I can get it. It is coming from the itest result, okay. Similar way, success means test case is getting passed here, right? Similar way, failure, testng method or test case failed, I can print it out the name of the failure part, right? Similarly, skipped also I can add it, okay, and that part I don't want to add it also. Now on start, right? On start I can also add something. So it is the class level, right? So I can add some here value here. Please be remember here this is the itext context, not that itest result, right? So here I can mention testng class started, not the method level, right? It is a class level, not the method level, and so I need to use context variable, context dot get name. Similarly for the other one finish, it is a class level also. So for each and every class it will be running one time, right? Finished, okay. That is the reason itext context. It is a class level attribute. These two are class level attribute, and other are remaining are at the your message level attribute. Sorry, method level attribute. So now I have did it. So I have already created a listener class and I have implemented it, right? Now there is two way, right, to implement the listeners. One is, right, I can add it in my test ng XML file. So how can I add it? I will be creating a class, implementing it. After that I will be creating the test cases, right? So I already created my test cases here, testng XML file. Then I will be adding those listener, right, in the under the suit name, right? So that's why I can add it before the test name and under the suit name, okay. So let's try to add them here, whatever was given in my I'll be adding it, listener class. Okay, the listener tag, in case if you want to multiple listeners, you can also add it, but there is only one listener actually used in the real time. So here in the testng XML file, I will be adding after the suit level before the test level. So I can change it the name also, testng suit. So the tag will be listeners, and under the listener tag it will be listener. Class name you need to give it. So my package name is training, right, and my class name. What is my class name? Listener class name. That is my class name. So package name dot class name you need to give it. So, done. After that I can run it from my testng.xml file. So now you can see the impactance. The same test case will be running 4 methods. Two will be passed, one will be failed, one will be skipped, but you can add getting something, right? Same result will not get changed, but in the output you can see the impact, right? So we have written it, right? So these are the two part will be coming at your class level, because on start and on finish will be your class level. So you can see, right, on start is coming, right. So TestNG class started TestNG listeners, and then for every method, right, whatever is passing or failing, for every method you can get the result here, right. So TestNG method was coming, right, it is passed. TestNG method name, TestNG method name started is working, right, and then method name 2, right, failed, because method 2 is got failed here. So you can see it is coming, right, that based on that part you have given here. TestNG method started, passed, right, it is passed, and you can see here the method name in case it is passed. So this is adding with the name. For failure, it is also adding with the name for failure, because here method 2 is getting failed, right. Similarly, your method 3 is getting skipped, it is coming as skipped. Method 4 also passed, and finish part also there, right. So that's why you can, if you want to add it listener, so you can get it details. So definitely this is simple example, but in the framework I will try to give more examples so you can get more details also, right. If you want to give some differentiation, right, you can add some differentiation also here. You can concatenate it, right, so you can get some method name, some differentiation you can get it here. It is getting right added, so I will be giving some space here, so you can get some space. So that's why you can update your listener class. So that is the one way I can giving it in my TestNG XML file. So other way is, instead of that one, I will be using listeners, right, annotations, right, for the class level. So you can see, first we will be adding the listener class, implementing the listener class to a class, right, interface to a class. Then user need to implement the above listener in normal Java or TestNG class, having that @test and method only with the listener annotation. So I will be using here class level. So after test I can use it. Right, so I can use it before the class level. So one time I can do it. So @listeners, TENERS, listeners, and here I will be giving the same package name dot class, and after that you need to give one dot class. So same way, package name dot class, and here you will be adding dot class. Then you can also import listener class here, right. So if you run it from now, TestNG XML file, same way it will be behave, right. So that is the two different approach how to implement the listener class in your TestNG framework, either through with the help of TestNG.xml file or either from your class level. You can see same way it will be behave, right. You can see it is coming. Okay. So for the past part I have given the space is coming, you can see the space is coming. Test method started, right. For the test method started I have given the space, so it is coming. So that's way you can change it, but in the real time framework we will be adding more important aspect in the listener class. This is the kind of just high level knowledge you can gain it, how it is interlinked with the TestNG framework, but here I will be giving more thing, right, so that it will be captured in the screenshot. But this is kind of in the real time, if you navigate to something, right, it will capture the screenshot. Any questions here? Is it understandable? Okay. Then I will cover how we can execute only failed test case in TestNG with the help of iRetry analyzer. So in the last session I already covered it, right. So there will be kind of test output folder will be there, and with the here you can find a TestNG failed XML, and with the help of that you can only run your failed test case, right. So let's try to remove that one, listener tag. Okay. So here I already having I want to fail to one test case, and I am removing that part. So now my total 3 test cases, 4 test cases there, 1 test case will be failed, right, and I want to run only the failed test case instead of running all the test case. So I want to run the failed test case multiple times. because your test case can fail, right, because of synchronization issue. So if you run it for next time, so you can easily do pass status. So just I want to run only the failed test case, not the passed one. In case it is passed, it will be run only one time, right? So I can also use that, right? I retry analyzer, another thing is available in TestNG. So test method will be failed because of many reasons like uncertain behavior by application, network issue, etc. To overcome the false failure, right, user, right, need to execute the failed test case only or test method only. So when the test fail, the retry method gets called, and retry method will result in either true or false, right? In case the user have a test method that is annotated with retry analyzer along with @test, so based on the result from the retry method, right, @test method decide whether it should run or not, right? You can see we will be creating a class where we will be implementing iRetry analyzer, this listener interface, right? We will be trying to iterate, suppose say 1 to 5 times, it will iterate 5 times. We will be giving the value. In case it is 1 and maximum is 5, so it will be iterate 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5 iteration. And here it will be giving some condition, retry, right? So in case I want to retry it multiple times, in case it is true, so it will not be executed, and in case return false, so it will be executed. Means in case it is fail, it will be executed multiple iteration. That's why I can retry it, right? So first I will be creating a class, right, which will be implementing iRetry analyzer interface. So here I will be creating a class in the same package. Okay, test retry failed test case only. Okay, and which will be implementing the interface. What is the name of the interface? iRetry analyzer. Okay, now we need to also, right, add unimplemented methods, right? So this is the method, you can see by default it is coming, right? So here I will be just whatever lines of code I have written here, I will be just copy pasting it. Okay, I already told you. So this is coming by default, so I will be just changing it. So here one second, why the message is coming return false, I need to give one more time. Okay, so current try you need to give, suppose I want to give start from 0 1 also, you can start it. So this is your current try, and maximum type you want to try it for 10 times, so 7 times you can give it 7. So it will be starting with 1 2 3 4 5 6 7. So similar way, whatever method was there, I am using it. I am giving some condition. If my current try less than maximum try, it will try to add one more try. In case return true, it will not be executed. In case return false, it will be tried to execute. That is the part I am doing, right? Now once it is done, right, suppose say first let's try to execute my test cases. So here you already executed your test cases, you already see one test case is failed and rest is passed, right? So for all the test cases you need to use that one, right? So in the test annotations we will be using retry analyzer. Press enter, equal to, what will be that? Equal to your class name. So here you just simply need to give your class name dot class every time, whatever test case you need to run it, right? Similarly for the other also, if you want to run it, it does not matter whether it is a pass or fail. So in case it is passed, it will not be executed. So that is the beauty of the method, whatever we have written. That is the reason we have given that condition. So in case it is a true, right, so you can see it will try to iterate. In case this false, so it will going out of the if condition. Means in case it is test case is failed, so it will only iterate. In case test case is passed, it will not iterate. Though you are giving condition is 1 and to 7, means I want to try to run 7 times, only the failed test case. So now if you want to run it from your TestNG XML file or from here, you can see only your failed test case will be running that time. Otherwise past test case will be not be running. So let's try to run it and let's see. Okay, you can see here total number of run is 10. You have 4 method. So past 3 test cases passed, so one time is 1 into 3 equal to 3, and your failed test case is run for 7 total times, 1 to 7 iteration. Okay, you can see here 1 is failed and rest of the time it is skipped because same failure, that is the reason getting skipped. Right, in the real time it will try to, in case of any synchronization issue and other issue, will try to execute it, right. So that's way you can run it. You can see here every time it's run, but your total number of failure is 1, skipped is 0 for the failed test case. Now if you change it, the iteration is to from 1 to 3, so it will only run for 3 times, right. Now if you want to run it from here, so that's why you can handle the failed test case re-execution to your expected condition, right, whatever time you want to run it. You can see now the total number of iteration is 6 because 3 test cases passed, so 1 time, and the failed test case 1 time failing and 2 times skipped one, right, because of the condition we have given. So that's why you can manage your failed test case execution. So there is 2 way. One is without listener class. So without listener class means you are adding it, writing it, running it from your failed testng failed.xml file, or you are using a class where you are implementing iRetry analyzer interface and you are also adding it, right, with the help of retry analyzer, and this is the class name dot class annotation. So your failed will not be executed, sorry, past will not be executed past. In case it is past, it will be only one time executed. In case it is failed, so whatever condition you are giving maximum and minimum part, it will try to iterate that number of time. Okay, so that's way we can also try to execute the number of iteration for the only for the failed test case. Then the last topic for today, I will show you from the testng, very important, how to handle parallel test execution in Selenium WebDriver with the help of testng. Why parallel is required? Sometime you need to run same test cases in some different browser or OS combination. Okay, and sometime you need to run your test case in multiple browser only to minimize that execution cycle. Suppose if you run in one browser or in a and one iteration, so it might take 2 days, right, but you want to reduce to at least 1 day, so you can use 3 or 4 threads. So that is the reason thread will come into the pictures, right. So thread, it can concurrently it can run, right. So parallelism or multi-threading in software terms is defined as the ability of the software, operating system or program to execute multiple part or subcomponent of another program simultaneously. So at the same time multiple component or multiple test case can be run. Testng allows the test to run in parallel or multi-threaded mode. This means that based on the test suite configuration, different threads are started simultaneously and the test method are executed in them. This gives a user a lot of advantage over manual normal execution, mainly reduction in execution time and the ability to verify in a multi-threaded code. Parallel test execution is vastly used by the QA industry or for functional automation testing. These features help QA to configure their test to be executed easily in multiple browser or operating systems simultaneously. Testng provide auto-defined XML file, right, which is nothing but the testng.xml file where we can set the parallelism attribute, right. So should name wherever we are setting it, right, we can also set parallel equal to method or classes or instance, and thread count we can give it. In case we are giving thread count, so that particular thread will be come into the picture. So that's why we can do the parallel testing in the Selenium WebDriver, right. So let's go to your class. Okay, let's comment it out these lines of code here. So let's try to add few lines of code. I am not writing it, so I will be copying it somewhere. Okay, suppose say I want to create few test case here. One is this test case, right? I will be running in Chrome driver, right, where I will be using driver 1, right, driver, and here I will be using that way. So for the Firefox I will be using driver 2, so that I can import it, right. So for the Firefox one, few test cases I want to run in Firefox and few test cases I want to run it Chrome. So these are the 4 test cases I have written. One is for the Facebook page. I want to open the Facebook page. I want to enter the username password. I want to get the title. I want to quit the driver. And for the other test case, just simply I want to open the Facebook page. I want to quit it. And for the third test case, I'll be want to open the Gcode driver, right? I want to open Google page. Want to get the titles. And here also for the third test case, I want to open the fourth test case. I want to open the Reddit page. Okay, this is the fourth test case I want to run. If I want to run it from here, so it will be running one by one, right? So it will take some time. You can see one test case will be executed, then second test case, then third, and then fourth based on the alphabetical order. So it will be running. So it is time consuming, but if I want to run them parallelly, right, so that maybe multiple thread I can work at simultaneously. So 4 test case if I want to give 3 threads, so 3 threads will be running. Okay, so definitely, I mean, it can be very easiest way, or maybe less time will be required. So I can add those parallel execution attribute in my test.ng XML file, so that it can take some reduced time. With the reduced time, I can execute those test cases. So if you can see, the test case is running one by one only. Okay, it will go based on the alphabetical order, because whatever method we have written, so based on the alphabetical order, it will try to run those test cases. So 3 test cases run, 3 is fast, still it is running. So the other 4 test cases will be running it in the Firefox browser. Okay, it is running. It is opening the Firefox.exe file, trying to launch the browsers. So it will try to open the Google page in the Firefox browser. It will get the titles and click with the browser. It's opening. It will launch and it will open the Google page. Once the page is fully loaded, it will quit it. So it is running one by one. So it is taking some time, right? Maybe suppose it is taking kind of 2 minutes, 3 minutes, but if we want to use some thread, it can be reduced to maybe 50% time. So that is the beauty of parallelism. So here what I will do, right? So same way, whatever I have tried to mention it here, right? So here in the sudo name, I will add few more attributes, right? In the sudo name tag, right? So here in the test.ng.xml file, we are having sudo name, right? So sudo name is there. I can find it. I can change the sudo name also here. So test sudo parallel, right? Then I need to give space, parallel equal to methods, because I want to run all the methods in parallel, right? So that is fine. Parallel equal to methods, right? And okay, I need to close it with that one. Okay, and then I can give the thread, how many number of thread I want to execute it, right? So I can give thread count, thread hyphen count. So thread you already seen in my last Java session. thread dot count. Suppose say I want to use 3 thread, so right, I can use it. So I need to give in double quote. So that's why I need to just update my suit tag, and here I can also update my test case name is parallel. So only that part I am updating it here. Suit name I am giving space parallel equal to method in which label I want to do the parallel and thread cutting. So three thread means 3 different concurrent way it will try to execute the test case. Let's save it and now try to let's run it from the test.ng XML file. You can see multiple thing will be running in parallel. So instead of one by one, multiple test cases will be try to run in parallel. So definitely it will take very less time. You can't guarantee that, like in case you are using 3 thread, you can see 3 COM divers was started successfully parallelly, right? Because we are using 3 thread. You can see 3 COM diver will try to execute. 3 test cases will try to execute in parallel way. Some of the execution you will not able to see it, visualize it because it is starting in parallel way, right? So you can see everything is running and simultaneously. So definitely sometimes, I mean, very at least 50% or 60% time, 70% time, sometimes you can save it. So in case you are having very kind of crunching timing situation, so you can go for the parallel testing approach. You can also distribute the test case in multiple browsers at the same time. In Chrome browsers, iBrowser, Firefox browser, whatever browser is required, you can use multiple threads and it will be running very fast. So you can save some time. So it is running, and so because we are using 3 threads, so 3 test cases will be running. After that it will be, you can see that all the 3 test cases run successfully for the Chrome browsers. Now it will open the Firefox browser test case and it will run it. So if you give more thread, it will be fast sometimes. Okay, so that's why you can do the parallel testing. So it is trying to run the Chrome browser now. Sorry, Firefox browser now. And it will try to execute the remaining test case, 4th test case. The Firefox browser, which is nothing but the opening of the Google page and getting the title here. But you can see, like, you can save some time in case you are using the parallel testing concept in the test.ng framework. Okay, you can see. So all your 4 test cases will be run and all your test cases will be failed or pass. Sorry, in case nothing is there. Okay, you can see 4 test cases run, and definitely time is less time is required, right? So you can get all the details. Okay, and if you want to see, you can see here at the same time 3 Chrome browser was started, right? Because we are giving the thread at 3. So that's why you can do the parallel testing, right? So I think that was the topic I want to cover today. Yeah, so I am reiterating again what has been covered. So today we want to, like, how we can create test cases and how we can use group, and with those group, right, how we can update our test.xml file, and we can include and exclude some group, and based on the group settings we can execute the filter the condition and we can execute the test case. How we can use the parameterization. So parameterization, all the parameter name and value you need to drive from the test.xml file, right? If you do not want to avoid that one, you can use data providers where you no need to use the test.ng.xml file. Instead of that, in the class itself you can use data provider, and you can change your number of kind of iteration or number of argument parameter you want to pass it any point of time. And you can also execute the failed test case only with the help of that particular test.ng.failed XML file, as well as you can run it with the help of iRetry listener, analyzer listener. And listeners, you can also use it where you can use iTest listener or iSuit listeners, so that you can try to add the unimplemented methods right from that particular interface, and you can add the method body, and based on the method body you can also get the required details in your test cases, right? And then the parallel testing is the last very important specific feature for Selenium WebDriver, through which we can run multiple test cases at the same time to reduce the overall execution time, right? So that all from the test.ng framework session. So we'll meet in the next session. Thank you.